certainly an important part of that. Yesterday, I was up in Charleston, and we announced sweeping reforms to the foster care system. These are first steps, but I was pleased to work with the legislature this session. We know that there are a couple ideas. Their critical incident review team and that 2880 bill was a good piece of legislation, a nice step up. And then we've been doing a lot of work on the regulatory side within the governor's office, and I think positive things are going to happen. There's a new day of transparency in the governor's office. I joke that you don't have to chase public officials down the hall to get information, and there's not going to be the stonewalling and the hiding of the information. That wasn't right then, and it's not right now, and we're turning the page on the past to have a more open, transparent system so that when there are fatalities or near fatalities in our child welfare system, the public has a right to know that. Obviously, there's some constraints under the law that we'll respect. We honor the law, but we're going to be a lot more transparent than you've ever seen. We started that process yesterday, and I think we have a couple really good reforms in terms of not only that critical incident team, not only that transparency, but importantly, focusing on training a lot of the supervisors and the workers so that there's a much better communications tool and there's more accountability. Having monthly reviews of all the cases that you have, we're trying to ensure that things don't fall through the cracks. But I will say to you, since we're here, that this is not a problem that's going to be solved overnight. It's been lingering for a long, long time. But we are working on it. We've brought in some really talented people. Our Secretary of Human Services really is a national expert on these type of issues. He's working hard on it. I've been spending time working hard on it, and we're going to do the best we can, and I know it's going to be better than it was in the past. But let's all work together to make it the best it possibly can be. Now, when you think about what we talked about on Tuesday, what we talked about yesterday, and what we're going to talk about today, all of these announcements have a common theme. Whether you're talking about storm recovery or ensuring clean drinking water or protecting the child welfare system, it's really about looking around for the most vulnerable among us and making sure that we're stepping up to do what's necessary. And that most certainly includes our kids. And that's why we're here today. West Virginia has a proud history defending the sanctity of life for a long, long time. And I've been very humbled to be an important part of that, serving as the first pro-life attorney general in state history. And before I left, we were still busy defending the state's pro-life law in the Fourth Circuit. That's still pending. And we've been working constantly to try to keep expanding the provisions to protect innocent life. I spent a lot of time fighting back against the policies of the Obama and the Biden administration. And that's because I do believe that it is a duty for public officials to step up. And a life is a gift granted by God, and we should not take that away. I think God knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. And as governor, I'm going to make sure I do everything to make sure that we never forget that. But of course, it's not just the life in the womb. It's life at all stages, but especially kids. And as you all know, West Virginia does have some strong laws protecting life. They're under attack, but we're going to keep defending them. We've enacted legislation over the years to protect born alive infants, to provide informed consent disclosures about chemical abortion, and to protect preborn children with disabilities from discriminatory actions. And let's not forget, when put up for a vote not too long ago, West Virginians rejected this right to abortion and rejected state funding for abortions. It's important. We also know that because of a number of the picks that were made by President Trump, that we feel good that as this goes up, as our law goes further up through the process, it's very likely to be successfully defended. And that's because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, a very positive development, something I spent 30 years working to overturn in various capacities. I think we've been doing some good work in West Virginia. There's always more that we can do, but we can't let up now. That's why today I'm very proud to announce the signing of 3 positive pro-life pieces of legislation to further protect the unborn, our children, and our mothers. First, I'll be signing Senate Bill 537, which strengthens the West Virginia Mothers and Babies Pregnancy Support Program. It's a pretty cool program. It expands the use of the state funds for pregnancy help organizations, which now can cover some new expenditures for some new land or buildings, for some additional services for the young moms in need, to help some of the providers meet licensing and accreditation, and to engage in staff training. It's a good bill, and I was pleased to see that not only in terms of the underlying bill, but I was pleased that the legislature in their budget, the funding, allocated $3 million for this noble purpose. So I thank the legislature for their actions too. They put their money where their mouth was, and I thought that was really terrific. The goal behind that money in this bill is to give organizations that help pregnant women greater flexibility in using their funds. What a good, noble cause. Second bill is House Bill 2123, and that increases criminal penalties imposed on a parent, guardian, or custodian for child abuse. Once again, we have to protect our most precious among us, and if you harm a child as a parent or guardian, you're going to pay a heavy price. We're now increasing the jail time for abuse of a child that causes bodily injury from 1 to 5 years to 2 to 10 years. For abuse that creates a substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury, the incarceration time, once again, is increased from 1 to 5 years to 2 to 10 years. And for abuse causing serious bodily injury, the incarceration time is increased from 2 to 10 years to 5 to 15 years. In West Virginia, we're going to look after our kids, and we're going to hold abusers accountable. Also proud to talk about a third piece of legislation today. It's House Bill 2871, and this expands vehicular homicide and homicide by operation of a motorized watercraft penalty. You know, I think about it, what's a motorcraft penalty? I wonder how many crimes are charged in that area. That was meant to be funny. Now, the loss of a child in a womb, now, under this new law, that can be considered a death for purposes of prosecution. That's good. And that's just common sense. A life in the womb is still a life, and our laws have to reflect that fact, and they are. So I, once again, really praise the work that you're doing to keep your eye on the prize. And while we're making a lot of the tough decisions that we have, talk about budget, we talk about PEIA and our school systems and driving educational attainment up, let's never forget the importance of protecting precious life. That's critical. So I'm so grateful to see so many friends here. I've been back in Raleigh County a few times since I've been governor. I'm going to keep coming back. But we couldn't do this without the good hard work of the legislature. And so I just praise all of you for coming today, and it means a lot. And I want to thank you for your commitment to protecting precious life. West Virginia is always going to stand for life. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here so we can celebrate that. And I'd also want to give anyone of the legislature who wants to come up and say a few words the opportunity to do so, because that's important. Once again, it's a team. It's not just about one person. It's about a team. That's how we work. So I'd like to first call up Brian Helton and Roland Roberts, and then any other legislator that would like to say a few words, I'd like to open it up for you. So why don't you start with the two senators from this area? Gentlemen? Thank you.
Well, it's a good day. It's a great day for Raleigh County. 7 years ago, the Lord allowed me to begin representing Senate District 9. Then it was Raleigh County, Wyoming County, and part of McDowell County. Now it's Raleigh County, Wyoming County, and part of Fayette County with the redistricting. But a few years ago, I was privileged to be the caucus chairman for the Senate majority and lead that caucus into eliminating almost every kind of the abortions that were performed. I think at that time there were 38 abortions a week. I got a signed copy of that bill. My signature is one of those signatures on the bill. It sits on my desk today, so that every time I walk into my office, I am reminded 38 babies live because of people, because of the work of the legislature and finally getting that through. It was not easy. It was a battle. And I'm so thankful to be able to have a part in that. But there was something else, Governor, that we talked about in that time period. And we said, if we're going to have these mothers have their babies, then we're going to have to do something to help them. We have to have the wraparound services, and we have to do something. So there was a commitment that several of us made in both chambers at that time to make something good happen for the mothers and the babies. That's part of why we're here today. And that's part of, and then the Lord allowed me to be vice chair of our Senate Finance Committee. So when it came time for funding and these discussions behind the scenes, then once again, God used me to be able to make that come full circle, to make a difference. I cannot tell you with a pastor's heart how grateful I am for being able to do that. Something that I've always said, you've probably heard me say it before, with West Virginia must change the perception of our state everywhere. And we are. We have and we are. Change the perception. But while we are changing the perception that others have of us, we better be working on improving the reality. That's what these bills are all about. This is improving the reality of everyday people. And I know that the media jumps on all sorts of things and they say, oh, this wasn't done and that wasn't done and the focus wasn't on this or that. Well, I will tell you, if we're focusing on foster care, that's a great focus. If we're focusing on mothers and babies that have needs, that's a great focus. If we're focused on really penalizing those who are abusing children, instead of giving them a slap on the wrist, let's let them know we are not for that happening. You're going to pay a price if you do this, because the life of a child is impaired for life. And we've got to acknowledge that as a society. So I don't apologize for any of these bills. I thank God for them. They're very important for us. Norman Vincent Peale said this: stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You will find that they haven't half the strength you think they have. We've got to help these mothers understand that all of the obstacles that they're facing, they can be overcome. But we've got to help them. We've got to come alongside. And I think it's appropriate to have this in a church today. We've got to be motivated to help real people, not just, all of these fanciful things. We've got to help real people. And if we're helping real people, then I think that's fulfilling part of the purpose why we are here on this earth. Let's help real people. Now, I'm a preacher. I got to share with you one verse. The scriptures tell us in Ecclesiastes 9:10, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there's no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. And so, ladies and gentlemen, may we do our dead level best while we have time, while we have energy, while we have opportunity. Thank you so much for being here to support bills like this. Thank God for a governor who cares about people and these kinds of issues. Our foster care system has been broken. He's brought on board a great Secretary of Human Services, and I am thrilled about everything that's been going on there. I hope you are too, and I hope you will continue to support what we have begun in recent years, and let's just snowball this whole effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, it's not too often I get to follow a Baptist minister. And he's also my senior senator in this district, so I also have to do what he tells me up there. But it's so great to see everyone here today. And isn't it great to have a governor who is truly a pro-life governor, who ran on conservative values, and then right out of the gate introduced 14 bills that represented the best interest of West Virginia. And by the way, And for a first year governor, passed 12 of them, and 13 out of 14 came through the Senate, and the Senate passed all those unanimously. There was only one we didn't get to look at, but the other two will get across the finish line. But let's just go through a few of those. First of all, the one we're here to celebrate today, which is the Mothers and Babies Support Program, which represents the value of life in West Virginia. It shows our state's commitment to life, and also the importance of not only that, but also the resources and the empowerment for women, particularly single women who are in a distressful time of life, to be able to choose life for their children. That's so important. And that program is going to be invaluable. Also, we passed a bill called the Raleigh Gaines Act this year that defines what a man and a woman. Isn't that great to pass that bill this year? We passed bills that ban DEI, so we're not focused on the color of skin or the background. We're focused on meritocracy. We're focused on the things that matter. Our governor introduced that bill. Also, from an economic development standpoint, some of the greatest economic development bills we've had in many years. We didn't focus on individual Green New Deals this session. We focused, by the way, we're seeing some of those fail now, like the electric bus companies and some of those kind of things. We focused on bills that apply to industries across our state that want to be here. Things like the microgrid and power data center bill, things like the one-stop permitting, things like the occupational licensing that's going to open up things for small businesses across our state. So it was a wildly successful session this year for a new governor. I'm so proud to be a part of the team. As I look across at the delegates and the senators I get to serve with, I think we have a powerhouse team from here in Southern West Virginia. We look at our new sheriff here, Frank Pretty, who is all over the place. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? And Frankie Shelton, his chief deputies here today, doing a great job. We have our mayor, Ryan Neal, with us today. Councilwoman Sherry Hunter, Councilwoman Janine Bullock. We have our county assessor, Linda Sumner. We have Jay Questenberry here with us today. Just a great group of people who are committed to making Southern West Virginia great again. And we're on track to do that. I think we're going to have a much better session than we did, if that's possible, this next session than we did last session. So I'm honored to be here today, Governor. Thank you for being once again here in Beckley, West Virginia. Maybe about the 20th time in the last year or so. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you for letting me be a part of today. Thank you so much.
Do any other senators or delegates, Senator Woodrum or any of the delegates, Delegate Kimball or Butler or Brooks or Gerhardt or Tony, I'm missing, and the gentleman from Raleigh County, and where else? Who else are we missing? Who else are we missing? Oh, Cooper, come on. Well,
Let me say one more thing.
yeah.
I forgot one of my best friends, the president of our county commission, Mr. Greg Duckworth.
Oh, yeah. How you missed it?
I'm with Greg so much, I forget we're together. So that's why I didn't mention.
That's great. Anyone else? Senator? Yeah.
Thank you, Governor. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to have a governor that supports what we're doing and has supported it, because he's had to defend legislation we passed, prior to him becoming governor, and he's stepped up. I know at one point he come to me and he said, "I think you're going to have to increase my budget because you get sued for everything you pass." But when we're out there working on legislation and we're being successful, the people that are opposed to our political positions are lining up lawsuits, and he's had to defend those, and that's given him a great background, I think, to step in and to be governor and to help us form legislation that will mitigate those lawsuits when that time comes. And I think sometimes people choose not to sue us because they know it's a lost cause. So I'm very appreciative, Governor, that you're here and you've been able to do that. When it comes to children, I have sort of a unique background. I've been a funeral director for over 40 years now. And, all these kids are very meaningful to me. And I've heard this argument for years that this is tissue, these different arguments that you hear. But I've had all these kids, all these different stages of development in my hand. And the work we do, to those of us that are close to it, that have that very personal experience, this is very meaningful. And, one of the worst times I've ever had as a member of the Senate was when we left and we hadn't passed the bill to stop abortions in West Virginia. Now, we did come back and pass it, but I knew that from that time we left to the time we come back, the children in West Virginia were going to die. And that was one of the, the hardest times I've had. But I also know that the life that some of these kids are going to have without these wraparound services that are being provided with which legislation that we're working on, and I think we'll be able to improve that as we go forward. That's very important to be able to help these mothers, help these families get started right. And I'm also looking forward to legislation here as we go forward over the next several sessions to help improve the business climate here in West Virginia. Because, a job prevents a lot of social issues and it fixes a lot of social issues. So having a good, strong economic climate, and we've been working towards that here for a number of years, and West Virginia's turned a corner, but we can always do better. So there's a lot of work to be done on the social side still and on our economic side, but we've got the right team in place, I think, to do that. And I'm very proud of the Republican Party and the leadership of the Republican Party that's allowed us to move this state forward. Governor, thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Butler.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be here in Raleigh County. I'm Jim Butler. I'm from Mason County. I represent Mason County and Putnam County in the House of Delegates. And I'll just make this really quick. I want to really thank the governor. He and I ran together. I think it was his first time running for Attorney General, and I was running for House of Delegates in 2012. And back then, we saw some things in West Virginia that really needed to be improved upon, including life issues of life for unborn babies. Back then, I'm an excavating contractor by trade. Back then, I had to have more license to install a septic system than someone had to perform an abortion, I believe. So we've made some important changes to protect life, and also economic development, everything, and things that you would never think you would have to pass legislation for. That are just common sense, like the Parents' Bill of Rights or defining men and women and those types of things. So I just want to thank the governor for standing firm on these things for us, and also recognize the people. There's a few people here from West Virginians for Health Freedom who actually have brought some ideas to us and who support strong family, again, health freedom and pro-life type issues. So I want to thank the people, our citizens, who bring these ideas to us and also make these things happen and vote for us so we can get them done. So thanks everybody for coming, and thank you, Governor.
Absolutely.
Proud to serve with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other delegates or electeds want to step forward? Oh, well, there we go. And but Rube, come on up.
Yes, sir. I'm hard to miss, Governor.
I know.
I do want to thank the governor for being in Southern West Virginia again today to sign these bills ceremoniously, of course, to do this and to have it here at the church again is very appropriate. As Senator Roberts said, this is a great day. It's an important day as we celebrate these victories that we have. I'm just so proud of our governor. Before he became governor, when he was fighting these battles for us, and it would make national headlines where he would lead these lawsuits on some of these things. And I was just so proud as a West Virginian, and to have him down there fighting these battles for us, and now for him to be serving as our governor with those same principles in place, and now with more authority to get some things done. Just so proud of him, of what he's done and what he's doing, and to get to serve in the legislature under his leadership, so to speak. I'm very thankful for that, and I do appreciate the governor being here today. So many times folks will put their name on the ballot, and they'll put out a policy statement, like, this is what I stand for, and they'll say, well, I'm pro-life. And it's easy to say when you're running for office. Then the bills come across the floor, and you got to cast a vote. And I'm so glad and honored to get to vote on these bills. I'm just so pleased when I see them, because it's promises made, promises kept. I'm a pro-life guy. Don't make any bones about that. I don't run from that at all. Pro-life, and I just see the folks in the crowd that are pro-life folks as well, that support us as we're down there fighting these fights sometimes. And in places like this, it's pretty easy. But when you get down in the halls of the Capitol, you have those with opposing views that make life a little rough on you. But that's okay. We've got big shoulders and we can handle it. And just glad to vote on some of these things. But you got to have leadership that's willing to stick their neck out and do some of these things. And we have that with the governor. And like I said, we got these bills that we're going to celebrate today. Just so thankful for it. Thank God for it, really, that we get to do what we get to do and to make this state. I want this state to be the most pro-life state in the union. And with the leadership from the executive and those in the legislature as well, we're going to work our best to do that. So thank you guys for being here this morning. This turnout is great, actually. So it's great to see everybody this morning as we celebrate these victories that we have for our state and for our people. We've got to protect those babies. We've got to take care of those children. That's our job, and that's what we're supposed to do. And I'm just thankful to be here. So good to see everybody.
Thank you. Delegate, please go ahead. By the way, these guys are doing great work for your area, so thank you.
You know, and I'll be very short, and I know that you won't believe me as a delegate, politician, and an attorney. You'll think, no way. But I will not, I'm not a pastor either, Roland. But just, it's an exciting time. You know, these bills that we're going to pass, they start out as ideas. And as they grow through the legislature, whether it be the Senate or the House, what you've got to have, and we heard it earlier, is teamwork. You got to have teamwork between the House, the Senate, and the governor. And right now in West Virginia, we have solid teamwork. We have an exciting time, not only with pro-life, the economy, and many other issues that we want to talk about. But you hear about pro-life, and Eric just talked about it. You know, to me, growing up here in Beckley in Raleigh County, some of the issues that we face, I think, are common sense. I mean, that's the way we were raised here in Beckley and in Raleigh County, Southern West Virginia. It's pro-life. Everything is important. And, you know, we talk about assets of the state. Our greatest asset are our children. And I'll always say that. I'll always sing their praises. But truly, our greatest assets here in Southern West Virginia and all of West Virginia are our children. And we've got to protect them. We've got to come along beside of them and mentor them and help them grow. And then it just continues the cycle. And I want to thank everyone here. I want to thank the governor, the delegates that showed me the way this year, and the senators that helped me along. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. And now, for anyone who would like to join me up here, we're going to do the ceremonial signing of these bills. Delegates, the senators, and any folks who read.
Billy, we can do it right.
How are you? Come on on.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Good to see you.
You're fine.
Let's all start together. Yeah, you guys gonna make it look bad.
Hey, Jeff, come on in. All right, guys. This is very proud to sign these here. Spread these out a little bit. Someone wants to hold it here. Who wants to hold it here? What's it again?
You want to hold it?
Guys, thank you so much. This is such an incredible day. Really appreciate it. All right. Thank you all for coming. Oh, yeah. That little beaver, that was a lot of fun.
You too. How's my baby? Just came from Joe's. Came from Lisa's.